Tell your story.
Okay, first of all, thank you everybody for showing up for this, and I want to really give some big thanks to Jason Elms. If it weren't for Jason, I probably wouldn't be here today with his encouragement to join the chamber, because this is all new to me. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be in this situation, but I lost my son on Mother's Day of last year to suicide, and for a couple months I sat around thinking, what the heck am I going to do about this, and what can I do while I'm on this earth without him? And I knew that I wanted to do something, but Ashley, who is here as well, her son and another senior came to me and wanted to do a senior project on in memory of my son Connor. So out of that grew, and you guys were all familiar with the bass fishing tournament, I think you got notified and all that Taylor Thompson did, Ashley's son. But out of that I started doing some research and found the Yellow Ribbon Foundation started in Colorado. And the foundation was started by Dale and RC when they lost their son in 1994 to suicide. And when, I'm telling the story so you understand why it's yellow. When Michael passed, their son, the kids came to their house when they all heard about it and asked Dar and Dale what they could do to help. And what, Dar was like, I don't know what you can do to help. I don't know. Just what you can do is never do this. Ask for help. Ask somebody for help. And the kids started, and this foundation was really started for the kids, and we want the youth to be involved. That is huge to sustain this in our community. We want the schools all to be involved in the youth because that will sustain it. The kids started making these little pieces of paper, and on it saying ask for help and a little more information. They put a little yellow ribbon on it, and the reason for yellow is because Michael had a beloved yellow Mustang that he was restoring. They still have that Mustang today. And so within 3 weeks, all of the little pieces of paper were gone during his service, and the kids continued to make them. And they started sending them around the country. And only 3 weeks after Michael passed, Dale and Dar got a call from a teacher in Iowa. This was in Colorado that it happened. Got a call from a teacher in Iowa that said, I had a student hand me that piece of paper and it saved her life. And since then, they have received over 50,000 letters from around the world, because it's gone global, of help, either somebody writing and saying it helped save a friend or it's saved their lives. And what grew out of that was this, I'm sorry, I'm moving around the floor, I'm so sorry, is the Ask for Help card. That the whole premise of this program is to get into our schools and get these in the hands of every one of our youths, adults too. I mean, but starting with the youth and the teens and the young adults, because the fastest growing, or the third leading cause of death in our community, some places, in some states, it's second leading cause of death, is suicide. I had no idea any of this stuff until it happened to my son. And let me tell you a little bit about Connor. Connor was 17 years old. He had a ton of friends. He played high school baseball at Sequoia. He was a goofy kid. Loved the outdoors. He was, passionate about baseball. He was an avid fisherman. He had just started fishing tournaments. His father down in Florida had purchased him a bass boat, and that he got into all that through Taylor. He loved fishing all his life, but because Taylor Thompson's dad was a professional fisherman, and guys like Jason, he really wanted to do that. In fact, he wanted to go to school and be on the bass fishing team, as Taylor is doing today. So Taylor's doing that. I feel like Connor's probably sitting in the boat with him whenever they start doing that at Mississippi State. But there weren't really any signs with Connor. But I guess, and I don't want to draw this out, but my baby was never anybody you would suspect to do something like this, ever. And everybody that came to my house that day and sat there with me, they couldn't believe it, and they still can't believe it. There are many sites up there with, his friends still go to the sites and talk to Connor. But when I heard about Yellow Ribbon, and the more I've learned about it, because I went to the training in February for 2 days, and I became a subordinate chapter of theirs for Cherokee County. I believe that, and this is now on my website, I believe that if my Connor had been in a school that had this program in it, and had heard this message, and his friends had heard this message, and he had this card in his wallet, he wouldn't have made that awful decision that day. Maybe, just maybe. And if I can save one life with doing this, it'll be worth it for my Connor. And I want selfishly to keep my Connor's memory alive through this. So he's going to be everywhere, and I talk about him all the time. My friends can tell you that. I talk about him all the time. One critical piece of information that I learned that I think people don't understand about this is there is a crisis period at 45 to 90 minutes where somebody with those feelings or thoughts will act on it. It's a crisis period, and if they can just get past that crisis period, they won't act on it. And they might have more than one crisis period, but if they have this and they know it's not, don't think this way, I've got to stop and think about what I'm doing, because it's not about dying, it's about ending pain. My baby did not want to die, and I don't know what the pain was, and I won't know until I'm with him again. But I believe my mission now is to get this started, and somehow there are states that have legislation out there where if they're making it mandatory for programs to be in schools, just like the alcohol and drug awareness programs. This should be in the schools. I've talked to teachers, it should be in the schools. That I'm a link sign that's up there is one of the things. It's just a simple thing, but when the schools start getting this this program in their schools, the teachers can put that up there, and the students who have heard that will know what that is. And they know to ask for help. Some kids can't say anything. They hand the card. When you read the card, it has instructions on the back for the person who receives it not to leave that person. Do not leave that person. We're not counselors, but we just want to be that bridge, that link for somebody in pain to get the help they need. There's so much more I can tell you, and if you have questions, please ask me. But that's my goal. There's a lot of information on the flyers you can take with you. We're doing we're going to start a fundraiser, the flocking fundraiser, to get, my goal with this is more, not for the money as much as getting awareness in our community about the program. And it has our website on there, and the website has a lot of work to do, but there's content up there and people understand what it is. So this fundraiser hopefully will start, we were thinking about this weekend, but fall break's coming, so I think we're going to wait until October and start flocking people in the Town Lake area to begin with, and we can do other events later on in the year to raise awareness. But I don't want it to be a dark subject. There's stigma around it. People don't want to talk about it. I've talked about it from the hour it happened to me, because it's something I didn't know about, but I talk about it, and I think it needs to be talked about, because I honestly believe if my Connor had heard this message, he would still be here with me.
1, 2,